All right, so this is the video to design the utility shed for civil engineering and architecture. So we're going to use the program Revit. This is the project design document right here. So the shed that we're going to design needs to be 12 feet by 16 foot footprint, outside edge of the stud to outside edge of the stud. The wall height is going to be 8 feet. 3 exterior walls are going to be typical residential construction. That includes this wall section. Go over that in more detail later. The fourth wall should be brick. The floor is going to be 4-inch concrete. The gable roof is going to be a 512 with a 1 foot overhang. And the sheet is going to be, the drawing sheet is going to be 11 by 17 with a 3D view, dimension floor plan, and 2 elevation views. The program that we're going to use to design this is Revit. So if you have Revit on your computer, you should be able to find it in one of 2 ways. Either it's going to be on the desktop like it is right here for me, or you can go into your menu and type in Revit, R-E-V-I-T, and find it there. Okay, I've already got it open, so there it is. Once it does open, what you're going to do is you're going to create a new Revit model, so new. And please don't just hit OK. Make sure you switch it to an architectural template. All right, it's very, very important. Switch it to an architectural template. Then you say OK. All right, so it might take a couple seconds. Revit does take a little bit to load. All right, and there we have it. Just to let you know, the instructions that you can follow, you have this video, but you can also look at the instructions here. These are the instructions that I'm going to be following right now as we go. Okay, so what you're going to first do is before you start actually drawing any kinds of walls or anything like that, let's get some stuff set up. So by default, we have level 1, level 2, not the best naming convention. All right, so level 1, if you go to like one of these elevations here, level 1 is the bottom, and then they go up as you go. So if you double click on this, or sorry, right click and say rename, you can say floor. And then would you like to rename corresponding level and views? It's really important you say yes, all right? Because you see it floor, and then this down here is floor. If you don't, it'll unlink them, and they won't be connected anymore, and there'll be all kinds of issues. Right click here, rename, and we're going to say roof. Okay, and again, yes. If you say no, that's gonna be roof, that's gonna be level 2, and they're gonna be unlinked. And the whole point of Revit is that everything's connected. If you update something somewhere, it updates elsewhere. All right, so now we've got that set up. Let's set up some information about our walls before we move on again. So if you select wall up here in the upper upper left corner, by default it goes to wall generic 8-inch. All right, there are some pre-made wall sections for us. We have some exterior and interior. I'm going to go down until I find interior, and the closest thing you're going to find to what we actually want is probably this 4 7/8 partition. So I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to click Edit Type right here. All right, before I do any kind of adjustments or anything like that, I'm going to duplicate it. It's always important to duplicate because I don't want to lose this. So I'm going to rename this interior 4 1/2 partition. I'm just going to get rid of the 2 because that's the indication of the duplicate. So it's 4 1/2. All right. Now I'm going to go into the structure and edit the structure. And the reason this is not quite what we want is we're going to use, instead of the 5/8 drywall, according to our design, what we want is, let's see, the exterior walls are going to use, all the walls are going to use 1/2-inch gypsum wallboard. Okay, so any interior walls are 1/2-inch, so 0, oops, and 1/2, 0.5. Okay, we can use just 1/2. And then this is also going to be half. And then the metal stud layer, it's not going to be a metal stud. We want the more traditional wood stud. Okay, metal studs are more for commercial. Wood studs are used for residential. So if you go down for stud or wood stud, you'll realize that there is no wood stud. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new one. So to create a new material, you click down here, create new. So click this, create new material. We're going to, it just says default new material. We want to call that wood stud. And in all honesty, I don't care what it looks like because it's going to be on the inside of the wall. I'm never going to actually see it. And so I'm just going to say, okay. And now it's wood stud. And a wood stud, a 2x4 is really 3.5. So 3.5 inches. And say, okay. Okay. All right, so that's my interior, but I'm going to actually start off with an exterior wall. All right, so if I go to exterior, let's see. The closest thing to the exterior type of wall that I want to use is probably exterior brick on metal stud. All right, again, go through the same process, edit type, duplicate. So it's exterior, it's going to be vinyl siding. Vinyl siding on wood stud. All right. So let me check one thing here. All right, so everything's good. So vinyl siding on wood stud, say okay. Edit the structure. So there's a bunch of stuff we don't need here. So the brick, we don't need that, we can delete it. Don't need a thermal layer, delete that. We are gonna use 1/2-inch plywood sheathing. So half. Now let's just go back here a little bit. So 1/2-inch, half-inch vinyl siding, house wrap, 1/2-inch. Plywood sheathing, 3.5-inch stud, vapor barrier, gypsum wallboard, 1/2-inch. Okay. So I need to add back in the layer. So insert that. It's going to be a finish layer, and it is vinyl siding. So I'm looking for vinyl siding. And you see a vinyl composite composition tile with no vinyl siding. So you need to create a vinyl siding material. So create new material. Identity, vinyl siding. This I will actually see. So you do want to change this a little bit. Let's see, I'm trying to, nope, the pattern. Okay, so here, it's kind of your call what you use. You want to use horizontal small, because again, remember, vinyl siding is like the horizontal kind of sheeting. I'm just going to use horizontal, say okay. And then you can pick whatever color you want. It's kind of by default like a grayish color. You can change that if you want to. You can go to appearance and sorry, this button right here. There's kind of two boxes with like almost like recycle arrows. You can click there and see what they have for vinyl siding colors. So you can use appearance library, go down to siding, and they have board and batten, horizontal white, horizontal 6-inch beige, 8-inch gray. I'm going to use the horizontal 8-inch gray. All right, click on that, click on these arrows here. That's kind of the swap. All right, and say apply, and say, I believe at this point we should say okay. And so that's the vinyl siding, and remember it's 1/2-inch. Membrane air infiltration barrier, that's exactly what we're going to use. 1/2-inch plywood sheathing. We're going to use, don't forget this is going to be wood stud. Change that out. That's going to be 3.5-inch. Vapor retarder, and then gypsum wallboard, 1/2-inch. Okay. Say okay. Okay. All right, so we have our exterior wall, and now we're ready to go. So a couple different things though before we start going. The wall height. All right, so we're going to go height, not depth. Height means we're going to go from the ground up, as opposed to if it's like a foundation, you go from the the surface down. We don't want it to be unconnected 20 feet. That would just do a random wall that's 20 feet high. All right, we want it to go from the floor up to the roof. All right, remember we're already on the floor plan, so let me just double check this. What we are actually doing. Okay, we are in the floor plan. Walls, height, roof. So instead of being unconnected 20 feet, it's going to be roof. But you see here, it's 10 feet tall. So something's wrong because when I remember going back, it said I wanted my wall height to be 8 feet. So I got to adjust that somehow before I start doing this. All right, I'm going to draw wall center lines. I'm not going to do any offset, anything like that. So let's escape out for a second. And now I realize I forgot the elevations. If you look here, when I double click on east, north, south, or west, doesn't matter which one you do, you realize that the roof is at a height of 10 feet. So the way you change that is you click on it, and then you click on the 10, you type in 8, and now the roof is at 8 foot tall. And now I go back to the floor plan floor, and I click on the architecture tab, wall. Now it's roof 8 foot. Okay, let's draw 4 walls. Go up, over, just random kind of rectangular-ish. Connect it all, hit escape, and there we go. All right, it's really hard to tell if I have it done correctly. And the reason being is you want to make sure you have, yours might show up like this, really thick lines. This button here turns into thin lines. But then you also want to see a lot more detail. The way you do that is down here in the lower right, left corner-ish. Right now, the detail layer is set to coarse. You click that, you can either do medium, or better yet, you can do fine. Fine tells you most information. Okay, and then another way to check is this is your 3D view, and I want to see if my walls are done correctly. It looks like I have it backwards. All right, it looks like that's my vinyl siding, and that's on the inside of my house. So I can go back here and double check. The way you check is if you click on a wall, this is the exterior. So yep, I went the wrong way around when I built my walls. I should have gone clockwise instead of counterclockwise. All right, but instead of deleting and redoing it, I can just click this and it switches the wall to the correct orientation. Where these this double arrow is supposed to be on the outside of the wall, the exterior part of the walls. All right, now I can go back to 3D view, and now I have my siding on the outside. Good. All right, back to floor. All right, now I want to dimension it. All right, so remember I want to dimension from outside edge to outside edge. So I a stud. All right, so if I click dimension, this is the edge of the wall right there. All right, but the problem is it's only letting me dimension to the center line of the walls. It's not letting me dimension to the outside edge of the walls. So the problem there is let me just double check. Let me put in some more walls. I'll go the correct way around this time. Oops, here, what I forgot to do. Wall, I want to do core face exterior. The core meaning like the structural core. It's, let me go back to wall, basic exterior. So remember when the structure, the core, the inside core, that's what you're telling is the structure. So the system knows that the wood stud is the core. Everything else is finish. All right. So if I build them that way, the core face. All right. So it doesn't let me do it. All right. Just wanted to check. Okay. So going back here, let's dimension it. So if I can get it to that wall to this wall, 44 feet, and from this wall to this wall, 40 feet. So this is way too big right now, but we can fix it. All right, so first of all, But to make sure that this lines up with the correct part of the wall, instead of the wall center line, if I click, sorry, the middle of it, see it goes to the outside face. That's not what I want. Inside. Let's try this again. Oh, so dimension, I want it to the face of core. All right. So I want it to go to the face of the core. There we go. So I keep on clicking and now it's lined up there. And it's lined up. Let's make sure. All right, so let's try this again. It'll be a lot better. Delete out, delete out. So if I click on dimension and I say face of core, that's what's going to get me to what I need. So I go from that edge to that edge, outside edge to outside edge of the studs. So again, there to there, and there we go. All right, so now I want to actually make it the dimensions I want it. So if I want to shorten it up this way, the thing to keep in mind is whichever wall you want to shorten. So I want to shorten this wall to make it 12 feet. All right, it's going to be 12 feet by 16 feet. If I want to shorten up these walls, this is the wall I actually have to move. This is the wall I move up and down to shorten that wall. So if I click on this wall, see how these dimensions turn blue. And so once that happens, I want this dimension here, the core dimension, outside core to outside core, I want that to be 12 feet. Hit enter. All right. And then I want this wall to move in, and I want this dimension to be 16 feet. And there we have it. So now our wall is dimensioned correctly. Or sorry, our shed is dimensioned correctly. So it's 12 foot by 16 foot, 8 foot high. Exterior, 3 of the 4 are this, and then the one wall I want to be 3 5/8 brick. So it's the original wall I want. So I'm going to change this wall here, and that's going to be the exterior brick on metal stud. But even that is not quite right. I don't want brick on metal stud. I want it brick on wood stud. So let me kind of make that a little bit smaller and off to the side. Let's just make sure I can see it. So I'm going to click on this and say edit, duplicate exterior brick on wood stud. Okay, edit the structure. I want 3 5/8 brick. Good. I want 3-inch air. I want house wrap. I want plywood that's 1/2 inch. Let's change that to 1/2 inch. I want 3.5 inch wood stud. So change that to wood stud. 3.5 inch. Vapor retarder, and then 1/2 inch gypsum wallboard. Okay. Okay. And there we have it. And the core is still the stud. So I need to click on this wall, and I want to make it 16 feet. All right. So for whatever reason, I need to click that one to make it happen. Okay, now I have it. All right. So now I have all that. Now I need to put in a floor. I want to put in a 4-inch concrete floor. So make sure I'm on floor. And so I go up here, go to floor. Defaults to 12-inch generic floor. So let's see. I can do a 3-inch lightweight concrete on metal deck. Nope. 12-inch filled. Wood, lightweight concrete on metal deck. So I'm going to do this 12-inch. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to duplicate and say concrete 4-inch. Edit it. Instead of structure uncategorized, I want to do concrete. So go up here to see concrete, and we're going to do cast in place. Say OK. Instead of a foot thick, 0 space 4, 4 inches. Okay. Okay. And the easiest way to do this is to use the existing boundary line. So the boundary lines are the walls. All right. And it says offset. No, I'm not going to offset it at all. You see, it's going to choose the outside edge of the core by default. Okay, which is exactly what I want. Click the green check mark, and there's my concrete floor, 4-inch concrete floor. Okay, next item. I want a gable roof, 512 pitch, 1 foot overhang. Okay, so gable, remember, it's sloped on 2 sides. It's sloped on the longer sides, and it's just the triangle up to it on the shorter side. So these 2 sides, this top or this side and this side, the 16-foot sides are going to be sloped, and then these are kind of like the front and the back are not sloped. Okay, so roof. And you'll notice that it gives you an lowest level notice. So just escape out. So what it's saying is I'm on the floor. So if I want to build a roof on the floor, which doesn't make sense, I don't want to be on the floor on the floor. I want to be on the roof, and that's where I want to build my my roof. All right. So escape out, and you'll realize that I can't because I have to hit the red X to escape out. Go to roof. Now go to roof. And it says 12-inch generic. I don't want to use generic. I want to use the wood rafter asphalt shingle insulated. Okay. The overhang is going to be 1 foot. And the slope I want to be 512. All right, so let's see. Oh yeah, so right now it's going to be defined slope, so I do want this to be sloped. So that, and by default it's 912, so it wants to be 512. I'll write the 9, say a 5, and then here as well. Also, if you make a mistake and you do this, the 1 foot overhang is going to be on the inside, which doesn't make sense. So you can just click that, fix it. All right, the 9 I'm going to fix again, change that to a 5. All right, and then these 2 sides I don't want slopes, otherwise it's going to be a hip roof on a gable roof. So I uncheck define slopes here and here, and there we have it. And I can use the green check mark, go to 3D view, kind of check it. There we go. All right, but you'll notice a problem. All right, you can see that on the sides, the wall goes up to the roof, but on the front and back, they don't. Okay, so there is a relatively easy way. You got to be careful with your mouse here and how all this works. But if you hold your mouse over top of the wall, so you see the outside edges of the wall are kind of in blue, you can hold down tab, or push tab, and see if they all the wall, it selects all the objects that are the exact same, and then select it. Okay. And you want to choose the option attach top base. All right. And then you want to select the roof, and there you have it. So now the front and the back are attached. The walls are attached to the roof. Okay. So we get lost in space. There we have it. Okay. So go back to the floor plan. The roof doesn't show up here, but that's what we have. Okay. Let's see. What else do we need? That's it. In terms of our actually building or designing our shed. So now we need to get set up on our drawing. So it needs to be a B-size sheet, 11 by 17. We need to have 3D view, dimension floor plan, and 2 elevation views. Okay. So to get a floor plan, or sorry, to get a drawing started, you go to sheet. There's nothing here yet, so I have to right click, say new sheet. I need to load a sheet, and you just load the 11 by 17, the B size. All right, so if you're at Main East, it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to have to go to, what is it, the shared drive, the S drive, CEA, or AAT, CEA, all that kind of stuff. But if you're on your home computer, which is what I'm kind of doing right now, you should just be brought to your US Imperial. You might need to be in libraries and then go to US Imperial. And you go all the way to the bottom, title blocks, B11 by 17. You click on load. Oops, I already did that. Open, say OK. Hit the plus sign, and this is your drawing sheet. Okay. And you can rename it Utility Shed. Owner, Mr. Payne, TEA, example shed. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put in, let's just double check, we need a 3D view, a dimension floor plan, and 2 elevation views. All right, so I'm going to put my floor plan up here. Right here. So let's just double check that it's the right size. So if I go up here, I just click and drag it out. And look at that, it's way too, so the shed itself is the right size, but all of that it's grabbing is way too big. All right, so click on that, delete it out, and let's go back here and figure out why that's happening. So it's the view range, okay? So if I click here, the show crop region, I want to drag these lines in just around the parts of the shed that I want to actually see. Okay. And let's tighten that up a bit. All right. And I want to turn this off after I'm done with it. And now I can go back to the sheet, drag it out there. And there we have it. Okay, I'm gonna need to do that for all my stuff. So go to the 3D view, scroll out a bit, select show crop region. Again, kind of tighten it up a bit. Okay, turn off the show crop region. The reason I'm going to show you, the reason I turn off crop region, let's go to 3D view, drag that out there, is otherwise a box shows up around it. So go back here, turn that off, go back here, should have turned off, good. And then I want my elevation views. So there it is from the east. Again, this is way too big, so show crop region, tighten it up a bit. Okay, try to tighten this or shorten these up, just don't make them so big. Turn off that, and then I want to do one from the east, one from the north. So one kind of head on, one from the side. Okay. All right. Tighten these up a bit and turn off the crop region. All right, so I'm going to drag out the east and the north. So east and north. I want to point out that if these look too small to you, you can change them to be a little bit bigger. So if I go to floor plan and I change it from 1/8 equals a foot, I could change it to 3/16 equals a foot. And it does show up a little bit larger. That might be what you want. It's up to you. When we get to the house, it makes a bigger difference. Okay, you know what? I kind of like the way the 3/16 shows up. It's a pretty minor fix. I'm going to do that. I'm going to change it to 3/16 and 3/16. And this I'll also do 3/16. Okay. Now it's just a matter of dragging them out again. So drag out the floor, drag out the 3D view. 3D view is the biggest by far. I can tighten that up a bit. And I need to do that, yeah. So let's see, turn on crop region. All right, turn it off. Try this again. All right, and then east and north. Okay, and that's all we have for the first version, first iteration of the shed. So now you're going to want to go ahead and print it. So if you click on the print icon up here, hopefully this works for you. Use Adobe PDF. If this doesn't work, you might also be able to use Microsoft Print to PDF, but choose Adobe PDF. Click on Properties. Let's see the default settings. So let's see, definitely don't want letter. We want architectural B. You can do smallest file size. Try to save some in case your computer crashes. Let's see. We're only doing one item here, so let's go ahead. Try to preview. All right, and then if you click on print, it should generate a PDF for you. Oh, might have to say OK again. And put it wherever you want to. Just for temporary purposes, I'm going to put it here and I'm going to drag it over to my Google Drive. I'm going to say utility shed V1, so version 1. Say save. And there we have it. Go ahead and submit that. Then we'll go ahead and continue editing, add a few features, and make something that you're going to submit for version 2. Let me know if you have questions.